Welcome to the Authentically Elisa podcast, Reshaping Business with Integrity, the podcast where we explore how to run your business authentically and with integrity. I'm your host, Elisa Bogarts, a business coach and launch manager, helping coaches launch their programs and events that align with their business values. Together, we'll uncover the secrets to building a successful business without sacrificing morals, ethics, authenticity, or heart. Let's dive in. Let's dive into today's episode. Today, we're going to be talking about going from inconsistent income to predictable profit. And I have an amazing guest with me, Jen Perez. And Jen is a profit strategist known as the Spicy CEO and is a sought-after speaker on cash flow and business profit. She helps bold women entrepreneurs turn inconsistent income into predictable profit through simple, real-life cash flow systems. With over a decade of experience in finance and operation, Jen blends practical strategy with bold, shame-free conversations about money. She is also the author of The 69 Ways Money is Like Sex, known for making finance approachable, empowering, and surprisingly relatable. Welcome, Jen. I'm so glad to have you on the show.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Yeah. So, tell me about how you got into this field of work and just, why you're so passionate about it.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, been in business for about 10 years. And when I first started, I was a financial coach. I wanted to teach people about money. I learned the hard way. Personally, I had filed bankruptcy back in 2013. Nobody taught me about money. In fact, sex was more of an open topic. Um, and so if you couldn't tell by the book, but no, I wanted to help people understand the money, the budgeting, paying off debt, etc. And then my corporate background is in accounting, so people would find out, oh, bookkeeping, can you do mine? Sure, why not? And that's kind of how my business started. It started growing as a bookkeeping firm that still is around today,
Oh,
except I
nice.
have a team that does that. And a few years in, I'm like, okay, I want to help people understand money in business. So in 2019, I became a certified profit first professional, which is a cash flow method.
Cool.
And
Nice.
that was kind of how I started getting into more of the coaching and consulting and really helping people understand money in terms that they understand without having to use all that accounting jargon. And so that's where my heart and passion are, helping people with the profitability, with the cash flow, making sure that they're building a business that supports their lifestyle, not the other way around. And that's what I focus on today.
Awesome. I love that. Yeah. And speaking at their level on their language too. Sometimes you're just like, you hear these financial things. I'm like, what? Like, oh, just,
Yeah.
just give it to me straight. What are you saying?
Yeah. Yep. And then, of course, I had to add a little spice to the conversation because
Yes.
sometimes people hear the word money or profit and they cringe. They're like, oh, I don't want to talk about this. I don't want to look at my numbers. And to
Mm.
be honest, we do need to look at those numbers, but hopefully I can put it in a way that maybe makes it a little bit more fun and enjoyable to look at least when you first get started. And then you might surprise yourself with some things. So,
Yeah, yeah, 100%. And I think that the more you kind of look at it and kind of take track of your numbers and your profit and allocate money around like that, that kind of gets a little bit more exciting. And I think the more that you actually pay attention to it, the more it grows. So, yeah.
oh, yeah.
So, being that this season is about scaling on your terms, how have you scaled on your terms and remained authentic as you've grown your business?
Yeah, so when I did start my business, there were three partners involved, me, myself, and I. And I was doing all the things, right? I was doing the bookkeeping, I was doing the marketing, I was doing my own books, I was doing everything. And that's not a way to scale.
Hmm.
I enjoy it. I am obviously not your stereotypical accountant. I have a very outgoing personality. So I knew there was more for me in that, but I've made a lot of mistakes along the way, I will tell you. But it started off when I had maternity leave and I literally had to hire someone at least on a contractual basis to help me because I would be having a baby. I can't just let's put this on hold for a minute so I can go send this invoice out. I had to have someone and I went through that experience and learned from that experience and then I've tried so many different ways of how do I want to grow and scale the company because there's not necessarily the right way for everyone. It's what works for you and
Mm,
what you envision the company.
right.
I knew that the bookkeeping was going to get old for me and I knew where along that way where my passion was, and that's what I wanted to focus on. So I had to figure out, okay, if that's what I want to be a speaker, I want to help people understand cash flow, then that meant I had to find other people to do the bookkeeping. I had to
Mm-hmm.
find people to do the marketing. And I'm super excited. Our accounting manager Kristen's been with us for over 2 years, and she's on fire. I love it because I don't have to get involved much anymore. I
Oh,
mean, I
that's
get involved,
awesome.
but I don't have to.
Right.
And it's nice when you find those people and you want to keep them and whatnot and grow. But even now, I'm at a point where okay, I have a team that does the bookkeeping, but eventually, like I might need to have more people. Like there's a point I might want to sell it someday.
Right.
There's
Yeah.
so many different things. So you have to know what their exit strategy is and kind of reverse engineer that. Do you want
Yes.
to sell it? Do you want to pass it down? Now, I will say sometimes if you pass it down, if they're like, a middle school, elementary age, who knows what life will be like when they're adults? They may not want to. So have a secondary backup
Yeah.
plan just in case. We all are going to exit our business in one way or another, whether we like it or not. So if we can at
Mm-hmm.
least know what that end goal is, and then just making sure we can take those things we don't enjoy, we're not great at, and start leveraging other people or systems to do that for us, we're going to be happier with what we're doing. And then it'll get us to where we want to go. We want to do everything because we're focusing on the things we love doing and we're great at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it seems like that's kind of what you did and what you are doing is like the
Yeah.
fun side of it, which I loved about you. And I love like, yeah, everything that you do with the spicy CEO and the 69 ways money is like
Yep.
sex, like really having fun with it and just kind of standing out in that way. And if you were so bogged down with all that other stuff, you wouldn't, I don't think, have the capacity to be that creative person and to be like that, visible person in your
Yeah.
business front and
I,
center.
I couldn't just sit behind a computer and not have I mean, this is a little different because we're having conversation, but when you're sitting behind a computer and just doing work in front of a computer all day long, especially if it's the same thing over and over, to me, that can get boring.
Mm.
Some people love it and they thrive off of it, and that's great. That's just not me. And so,
Yeah.
figuring out what excites you and what kind of lifestyle you want, how much time do you need for your family and your personal life? Because that's the other thing to look at. If you're in a certain industry, for example, tax time, we don't do taxes, but we have to make sure all our clients have their books ready in time to be able to have the time to do their taxes, right?
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
I don't have to be I didn't want that holding me to be able to. I just went on a cruise this year, this last tax
Yeah.
season,
That's what we were
during
together.
like
Yeah.
peak time, right? And so
Hmm.
I've had people ask, I mean, April 15th, are you sure to me? And I was like, yeah, we're good. I have a team that takes care of it. And it feels amazing to be able to make those decisions because that's what
Hmm.
I wanted for my company and for my life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes. Love that. So let's talk about turning inconsistent income into profitable or predictable profit.
Yes.
So why do you think so many successful business owners they still feel broke and stressed out about money?
A lot of us know what we do. We know the bookkeeping, we know our marketing, right? We know our lane, we know plumbing, but we don't always know the other 57 hats we're wearing in our business.
Mm.
And while they all need to be handled, and we don't always have the cash flow up front or the capital to be able to hire someone right off the bat. That's a whole other conversation. We can probably have a whole podcast on, to be honest. But it really comes down to they're making the money, and you honestly you have to make the money before you can be strategic with managing it, because if you don't have the sales, there's no money to manage, right?
Hmm.
But we all have what I call a revenue roller coaster. It's all up and down. Not every day you're getting paid the same amount of money, or week, or even month. There's some businesses that are seasonal, right? The summers,
Hmm.
for example, I had a meeting with a client who's in the pool industry. They're getting busy. It's getting to be, it's summertime, right? And in the fall, winter, it's not as busy.
Right.
So every industry is different. And when you have that revenue roller coaster, your profit usually goes the same way, but people have a habit of spending what they're making instead of being strategic, driving profit intentionally, making sure they're paying themselves consistently and paying themselves first. Um, I always tell people that, or I ask them the question, if I told you to or if I told you to put your family last or your health last, would you do it? everybody, they always say no. So
Right.
why would you put yourself last in your business, right? It should
Mm,
be there to support you and in your lifestyle. So
right.
we want to make sure that we're paying yourself first so that you make sure your personal life's taken care of, and then you can focus on being strategic in business. And when you
Hmm.
utilize profit first is the cash flow method that I is the foundation in everything I do, even in personal life. And when we're
Yeah. So what does that
implementing
really
that
mean? What
method,
does that mean like day to day? Profit
so
first.
for one, we use percentages because of that revenue roller coaster going up and down. You're going to have some bad days or months. You're going to have some great days or months. And it eventually evens out. So when you look at the last 12 months, what you've been doing, you can gotta get an idea of, okay, now I know what I've been doing. I've been spending X percent on running the business. So you know moving forward kind of what your budget should be for that. But we also want to make sure we're driving profit intentionally. So we're setting money aside a predetermined percentage to be a financially healthy company. Because of that, we will have to pay taxes. And Uncle Sam wants to get paid too, so we want to be intentional with that as well. And of course, there's tons of ways to get reducing that tax liability, but ultimately that's what happens. And then we want to pay ourselves. So creating an account that is specific to paying you as the owner. And that way, all three of those things are done first. You're putting, when you get paid from a client or a customer, money goes into there. And then what's left over is what you have to run the business.
Right.
And a lot of people will reverse that. They'll do running the business first and then, okay, maybe I'll pay myself or I'll set aside some savings or I'll pay taxes if it's that time. Um, and when you can just start taking baby steps to start implementing all of that, it's going to help you be clear. And that's the other thing, people are sometimes afraid to look at their numbers.
Hmm.
If you're in business, I'm sorry, I'm going to call you out. You need to look at it.
Yeah.
If it's a hobby, cool, have fun with it. But if it's a business, you need to know your numbers. Business is a numbers game. And
Yep.
hopefully you're just enjoying what you do too. So when you use those percentages, it helps you have more of that consistent profit that you also can predict. Because if you look at what you've been doing the last 12 months and you have projections for the next 12 months or the next 90 days, and utilizing that percent that you've on the profit side, even if it's just as small as 1%, you can start having some fun and seeing that light at the end of the tunnel and realizing that, okay, this is awesome. I'm going to get out of this rut. I'm going to be serious about running this business strategically. And there's a lot that goes into all of that.
Yeah, yeah. I actually was in a program where they were trying to train us on this, like in doing
Okay.
that and different allocations and stuff. And one thing I really took away from it was um your earned revenue. So and I noticed this with some of my clients sometimes, like they'll complain about money and things. And I was like, oh, you got to learn this thing. So like, especially as if in the coaching industry, if you do a 3-month program and someone pays in full, they'll give you the 3 months at the beginning of the 3 months, right? So they pay it in
Yep.
full, but actually you've at the end of that first month, you've only actually earned a third of it.
Correct.
Right. So you kind of you want to like, and then that goes into like your profits, your owner comps, and all that kind of stuff. Because if you spend it all, then by the time you get to month 3, you'll be sort of broke, right? You won't have that money. So
Yeah.
you kind of want to like separate it out and piece it out together. And yeah, and not just be like, look at the bank
Yeah.
account. Like, I'm gonna go on a cruise.
Right. That's what we call our drip accounts. So if
Mm,
that example, 3 months, let's say $3,000, that's 1,000 a month, simple math. When you get the paid 3,000, put 2,000 into a separate bank account and nickname it a drip account, and then only put 1,000 each month, the other 2 months in there. The 1,000 you can of course do now,
yeah.
but then the other 2,000 just each month, and that way you're not, because I've done that before I was introduced to Profit First, and I'm like, I had a client pay for a year up front,
Right.
and
Like,
sometimes like
woo,
that's a
lobster
huge
all
chunk.
around.
And if you are in survival mode, or you're like, ooh, I really want to pay off that debt, or ooh, I'd like to take advantage of that marketing thing, that can creep up on you. And then what if they ask for a refund or whatnot, right? So when you have
Mm,
that drip account, especially if it's a longer period like that, 6 months, and it's actually happened to me. I had a client paid the full 12 months up front, and she left early, and which was fine. It was a mutual thing. But when she did that, I had the leftover funds in there to cover that. I didn't all of a sudden had to scramble for the difference because I had spent it already. I only spent the months that she's used. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because if you
that,
did say you paid off debt, then you just have to go right back into debt, giving her the
yep,
other 6 months or whatever it is. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. So you always want to have those funds allocated. Yeah. So that was a really interesting thing. I was like, oh yeah, that's a really good point. Like, what have I actually earned? Like, and how can I split that up and put it away
yep,
and not touch it? And like
yep.
another thing that my my business coach just kind of said the other day, it was like to like a sort of newer group, but he was like, you have to put away money for taxes. That is not your money. It's
True.
like that's such a good way of saying it.
It
It's
is.
not yours. A certain percentage of what you earn is not yours. Don't touch it. Put it somewhere. Like,
Especially if you have sales tax.
mm,
That's been a huge one that I've seen is if you're in an industry where you charge sales tax and every state is different. So sales tax in Texas might be different than sales tax in California, right? So you have to know what the rules are for your state that where your company is in, or where you do business. But I've had clients come to me, they've to where they didn't even know they were supposed to charge sales tax, and they can audit you just like the IRS does. So they can do that. I've had it to where they were taking sales tax because they knew that, but then they were spending it. They didn't realize they actually had to take the sales tax and pay it to the state.
yeah.
And I get it. You don't know what you don't know, and until someone educates you on that. So we
Mm-hmm.
sometimes had to clean up. I had a guy been in business for 12 years, came to us, never charged sales tax because he didn't know. And then he had a colleague that does the same thing he does, got audited by the state, and they went back 4 years
Ooh.
that he had to true up and pay the sales tax.
Oh my
So he
God.
basically was like, I'm just going to start a whole new company and we'll start over. But we got him, we filed for sales tax and we did things the appropriate way.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another thing is set that money aside. Just don't even touch it, leave it there, pay it on time. But then that way, like you said, it's not your money.
It's not your money. Yeah. And so that needs to be part of also, how much you charge as well. Like add all those
Yep.
things in, add in all your fees, the taxes and all that kind of stuff. Because it's not yours. You have to take it out. So
Yeah. And if you charge and you have sales tax, be very clear if your price is plus sales tax or it includes sales tax. Because
yeah.
then you might send something out saying, oh, it's $1,000. Great. Here's my $1,000. Oh, well, I have to add sales tax. Well, you didn't tell me that. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes people budget the thousand, that was their budget was 1,000. They don't have anything beyond that, right? So
Right. Yeah.
being clear and understanding of that helps too with your clients, and it helps them better and not have that additional stress come time for payment.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, and I think generally in the coaching world, usually taxes are included in the price. So like the price is with the price. But every now and then I do see other people like charge, even like Canadians, like there's GST and PST. And I'm like, oh, I don't often see that like it getting added on top. So yeah, but
Yeah.
I would say remain, sort of consistent with it. That's a really good point because if you as a customer or if you as a coach are charging a high ticket program and you're charging 20 grand or something and you're going to add,
Yeah.
5, 8% to that, that's a big difference. And then
Yeah.
especially if you're Canadian and you're paying an American, you got to add another
Right.
like 30, 40% to that. And it's like, whoa, wait a second. How much is this costing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to budget for
And
those.
that's, I mean, you have all 50 states have their own state, and then you have the different countries, Canada, I mean, UK, Australia. Everybody has their own tax system. And so
Mm-hmm.
just being clear on it helps the end user.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. So what is one simple shift that our listeners can make, maybe even this week to feel
Mhm.
more in control of their money?
Um, so first of all, you need to know your numbers. So if you're not already tracking them in an accounting software or have a bookkeeper, you really want to look into getting that set up. To be honest, even if
Mm.
it's a spreadsheet, that's better than nothing. I recommend an accounting software, better yet, hiring a bookkeeper, but at least that. But one thing that you can go do right now to kind of help you feel a little bit of a win is go to your bank that you have for business. And to backtrack, step zero, separate your banking.
Yes.
Your personal finances and your business finances should have their own separate checking bank accounts. They can be the same bank, just
Hmm.
different accounts. Okay. So when you do that though, and your business account, open up a second business bank account, a checking account. Nickname it Profit. And then from now on, allocate 1% of all incoming, the sales, the commissions, etc., that you're making, put 1% into that profit account. You are now driving profit intentionally.
Love
So
it.
if you haven't already been doing this, right? 1%. If you're like, oh my gosh, I'm in survival mode, I can't afford to do that, do 0.5%, but do something.
Yeah.
You got to get into that habit of doing that because you're in business to make money, to live the life you want to live. We need to have it be financially healthy. And here's the fun thing. You're like, okay, I put 1%. What do I do with it? At the end of
Right.
every quarter, however much is built into there, right? You take, if it's $10 or $10,000, doesn't matter. Take half of that, 50%, and just keep it there. Save it as an emergency fund, cash reserves. Honestly, I'll call mine oh shit because that's the only time I'm touching that money is if I'm literally speaking those words. But we want to build that up, especially if we don't have that. Things can happen in business, especially if you've been
Hmm.
through COVID. If you had that backup cash reserves, it would at least give you time to pivot and figure things out versus
Right.
stress about the money. The other 50% though goes to you as a profit distribution. And so you just take an owner's draw. But here's the thing, it's not to go pay off debt, it's not to pay your bills, it's to have fun, reward yourself. Go camping. Here's the thing, when I first did it, because I was starting with the 1%, and I think back then I had debts I was trying to put towards it too, but I had enough. I went and got myself an ice cream cone because I love ice cream. But you just have to know that you are rewarding yourself at least 4 times a year with this profit
Hmm.
distribution because you need to enjoy yourself. You need to give yourself praise for what, hey, you now have profit in your business if you didn't before, or more profit than you did. So we need to have
Awesome.
fun and celebrate with that and share it. You don't have to share the amount. Be like, hey guys, because of my profit, I get to do this. I'm celebrating today, and that can increase. I have clients I just talked to this morning that they now we did their profit. Did the last time we did their profit distribution, they went and did a camping trip with their family.
Nice.
So it's nice when you get to do those things and build up to that to enjoy your life at least 4 times a year. Should be more frequent, but hey, I get it
Yeah.
sometimes as entrepreneurs. What do they say? You're willing to work 100 hours so you don't have to work 40 for someone else.
Hmm.
We work hard, we love what we do. We have to take care of ourselves too.
Hmm. Yeah, 100%. And as someone who, is sort of doing well and scaling and kind of, in multi six figures or beyond,
Mhm.
what percentage should they put into that? Like, what does it kind of come build up to?
So start with one,
Hmm.
but depending on the revenue, I would say if you're in the 6 figures, always start with one. Because here's what I did. I was like, oh, I'm going to jump to 5% or jump to 10% if you're making more than 6 figure or probably more than 250,000 to 500, right? You can maybe
Hmm.
10%. You do that overnight, where's that coming from?
Right.
Is it coming out of your personal paycheck? Is it coming out of the expenses to pay your bills? Right? And so you want to start with that 1% because if you got paid $1,000, 1% is $10. You now have $990 to run your business. You can figure $10 out.
Right.
But if you do 10%, that's $100. That could pay a couple things. And
Hmm.
so you don't want to jump too far into it and you want to get into the habit of it first before you start incrementally increasing that amount. And there's other
Right.
ways, other things to go into it too, but that's just a simple step that you can literally do right now and open that bank
Nice.
account and start driving profit intentionally so that you are financially healthy.
That is the goal. Woo, we can all
Yes.
do it.
Yes. Profit is sexy. So
It is for sure. Oh, well, thank you so much for all of that and sharing all your nuggets. And yes, there's one thing you can do, go open that second bank account, start giving yourself some profit and start with the 1%.
yes.
So yeah, where can our listeners find you online?
So Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram at Jen Perez Official, and that's Jen, one N Jen, because I know there's some two N Jens out there. But no, Jen Perez Official, and then you also can, I believe you have the link for it.
Yes.
There's a little freebie for you guys too. So I have what I call the 10 profit killing habits to break before burnout. And I don't see the results. Don't worry. You get a PDF of it and you just check it off. This is me. This is me. And it kind of a scoring system, but it just kind of gives you some insights to what are some things maybe you're doing in your business that is keeping you from increasing that profitability, and just kind of opens
Mm.
your eyes a bit to wanting to learn more. You get some things that you can do as a win if you did check number 3, for example. And I don't remember exactly what number 3 is, but if you look at that, it's just something to be more aware of in spending with your business. And then, of course, on top of that, I'm hosting a masterclass called the Hidden Profit Leaks. It's free, it's live, so you guys can come to that. Register at hiddenprofitleaks.com. But that's going to be a really great way to be honest, get serious and get in there and find out where those leaks are. Let's figure out how we can stop that revenue roller coaster, create consistent profit, and pay yourself first.
Yes. Pay
Yeah.
ourselves first, not last. I think that's like the biggest takeaway that we should be taking from this, at least
Yeah.
this time. So do you have any final words of wisdom to finish us off with?
Mm. I would say don't be afraid of the numbers, because in order for you to grow and scale, you need to know what those numbers are, whether they're good or not. That's okay. For one, people such as Alyssa and I are here to judge you, or not judge you. Sorry. Yeah, we're here judging you. No, I'm sorry. We're here to not judge you, right? We're here to help
Yeah.
support you,
Hmm.
and find someone that you trust. Find someone that you can talk to about that might be able to help you, either give you some guidance or find someone they know that can help give you guidance. When you know what those numbers are, it's going to be a lot easier for you to be more strategic with managing your cash flow, so that you have removed that financial stress in your business. um, and just really, again, I probably say this half a dozen times a day, but your business should support your lifestyle, not the other way around. Otherwise, you're working a job.
Yes. And then what's the point of being an entrepreneur? Where's the freedom
Yes,
in that?
yes, exactly.
Oh, thank you so much,
And
Jen. This
stay
has been a
spicy.
yeah, stay spicy, people. Thanks so much for being on the show, Jen. This is great.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I hope it inspired you to live a more authentic life. I'd love your help in inspiring more people to live authentically. So please follow, rate, and leave a review so we can create a ripple effect of authenticity. Until next time, stay true to you, be bold, and thrive on your own terms. This is Elisa, signing off authentically.